As a child, the first time I read the Bible, one question needled me before any other. Why did they have to translate the names? As far as I understood it, someone's name is someone's name, regardless of whether you met them in Jerusalem or Zimbabwe, right? But when the missionaries brought the Bible to our forefathers, they also translated the names of biblical figures into versions they assumed would be more relatable to our language. Ruth became Ruth. Timothy became Timothy. Leviticus became Levitico. Matthew became Mateo. Some of these make sense, an almost instinctual extrapolated translation, and then there were others which left a lingering question as to how Peter became Petro, John became Johanni. And how did James become Jakobo? If we were to follow the other conventions, James would surely have become something like James. But no, it became Jakobo. How did James end up Jakobo? To find an answer, I went looking into the origins of the Bible translated into Shona. The standard Shona Bible, the Bible, was first published as the Shona version in 1949. Bible magwaro macheni amwari, set in Logye orthography, a writing system developed for Shona in 1931 by the South African linguist Clement Martin Logye, who is credited with producing the first Shona alphabet. The 1949 translation project was led by Andrea Adrien Low of the Dutch Reformed Church, working out of Morgenster Mission near Great Zimbabwe in Masvingo. Since the pioneering translators at Morgenster belonged to the Dutch Reformed, it is widely held that the Dutch Statenvertaling, that is the classic Dutch translation, itself rooted in the Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek originals, served as a conceptual guide alongside the source texts and other European versions of the day. What we ended up with might have looked like a translation, but it was actually a translation of a translation of a translation. From Hebrew to Greek to Latin, Dutch, and Shona. Modern Shona Bible versions have shifted over the years. The Bible region Shona Chanas, the Shona Contemporary Bible, published by Biblica, then the International Bible Society, and launched in 2006 after its 2005 print, draws instead on modern eclectic Greek source texts such as the Nestle Aland edition, in step with widely used English equivalents like the New International Version. So, depending on which Bible is on your shelf, you're reading a translation shaped by a different set of hands, decades, and denominational leanings. But even then, the legacy of earlier translation decisions lingers. Which brings us back to James. In the original Hebrew of the Old Testament, the name was Yaakov. When the New Testament came to be written in Greek, the writers kept the name largely intact and rendered it as Jakobos. This means the apostle we call James in English and the Old Testament patriarch we call Jacob were all along exactly the same name. In Hebrew, Yaakov. Greek, Jakobos. Latin, Jakobos, later mutated into Lakomos, where the B sound turned into an M. Old French, Jacomos was shortened to James. In English, the French name brought to England and became James. Medieval Latin Bibles even kept the Old Testament Jacob and the New Testament Jacobus as visibly separate forms, and that split survived all the way into the King James Bible of 1611. The idea that King James personally pushed to have an apostle share his name is a popular and entertaining myth, and given King James I's heavy hand in overseeing the 1611 translation, it sounds entirely plausible at first glance. However, Historical linguists and textual historians note that James was already used in English Bibles more than 2 centuries before 1611, including Wycliffe's 14th century translation. Meanwhile, the Shona Bible translation followed the Greek roots, and Jakobos naturally transitioned into Jakobo. So while English speakers know him as James, the Shona Bible preserved a direct historical nod to Jacob, Yaakov, uniting the Old and New Testament figures under the exact same ancestral name. Makes you wonder how many other things were lost in translation.